Alright, so welcome to this video in which we are going to talk about pneumonias on chest x-rays. And chest x-rays are often ordered in order to exclude or confirm the diagnosis of pneumonia. And pneumonias look something like this. You see an infiltrate over here on this chest x-ray. And if you'll remember, the lungs are broken down into three lobes on the right upper, the right middle, and the right lower lobe, by the horizontal fissure and the middle fissure. And on the left side we have two lobes. We have the left upper lobe and the left lower lobe, split by the oblique fissure here. And people will often call this bottom part of the left upper lobe the lingula. So if we were to draw these on this x-ray, you can't really see it that well here, but we can kind of guess it. The horizontal fissure goes something like that, and the oblique fissure is something like that. And the oblique fissure on this side is somewhere like that. And so we can then start deciding, well, where do we think that this infiltrate that we see here is? You know, it kind of looks like maybe it's in the right middle lobe, maybe it's in the right lower lobe. Hard to tell on this one, and so we would need to look at a lateral x-ray. So let's do that. So obviously a lateral x-ray has the right side and the left side overlying one another, so you can't really tell the difference. But when you know what the previous one looked like, you can kind of have a hint. So we know here that, again, this is the right side is broken up into three lobes. The right lower lobe is mostly posterior. The right middle lobe is here in the front, and the right upper lobe is on the top. So if we were to draw these fissures here, you know, we might draw one here and then one going across like that, and that splits us up now into the right lower lobe here, the right middle lobe here, and the right upper lobe here. And when we look at what we had before, that kind of whitish stuff here looks like it's mostly up over here. So I might call that one a right middle lobe pneumonia, the one that we had seen before. Now let's look at the left side. And as we said, we have two lobes on the left side. We have the left upper and the left lower lobe split by the oblique fissure, which if we were to draw it somewhere here, might look something like that on a chest x-ray, thereby splitting this into the left upper lobe and the left lower lobe. And on this x-ray, it kind of looks like we see a bunch of whitish stuff up in here, so maybe we have a left upper lobe pneumonia. So let's take a look at this x-ray here. And I think we see obviously some opacity happening over here. And so if we were to draw our fissures, something like that, we'd say, you know what, I don't know, maybe it's in the, I can't tell if it's mostly over here or mostly here, in the right middle or the right upper lobe. So we look towards our lateral, and we do the same thing again when we draw our fissures. And I don't know, here it looks like it's mostly over here. And so I would perhaps call this one a right upper lobe pneumonia. Now let's take a look at this one here. And obviously there's some consolidation thing happening over here. So if we were to draw our line across like this, we'll say, well, you know what, it's kind of hazy over here, but it kind of matches this, and it may be this breast tissue here that's causing it to look a little bit hazy. Maybe most of the stuff is up here. Maybe that's what's going on. So let's actually look at the lateral x-ray and see what we see there. And so we have the lateral right next to us, and so we draw our line down there. And you can see that the below this line, it's actually pretty clear over here, right? This is clear here, and most of the opacity seems to be over here. So we have a left upper lobe pneumonia. Now when you look at this x-ray, the opacity is not as obvious to see, but you can kind of see that all of this doesn't really look all that good. It looks like kind of patchy, like this cottony type thing on both sides. And this is what's called an interstitial pneumonia, and it usually happens because of viruses. Now when we look at this x-ray here, we can see the right side looks pretty clear, but something's obviously going on here on the left side. And when you look closely, you can almost see this kind of ball-shaped thing over here, which seems to have an air fluid level within it. The fluid is, of course, pus, and whenever you get this kind of pus collection, what we have is an abscess. And an abscess in the lungs, we call this a cavitary pneumonia, because obviously it's formed a cavity within the lungs. So if we draw our fissures here, we could see that most of the action is happening up here, so we have a right upper lobe pneumonia. So this was a quick tour looking through how to look at pneumonias on chest x-rays. You should have some practice ones to do. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.